Okay, we are live. So, good morning, everyone. My name is Sandy Vasher. This is a word stitch, and that's the channel specifically. This is Rise and Write with Chloe and Friends. Um, Obviously, I'm friends this morning. Chloe is having struggles with her internet, which we hope doesn't cause massive, massive problems for her throughout the month of Nano because she's an ML, and that's a terrible way to have to ML. But we're glad to have you here this morning. This is like, I think we do a 10-minute warm up and then it's 15-minute sprints for about 2 hours. So you should get a decent amount of work in. Because it's only, oh my gosh, there's Chloe. Hey, Chloe, you're actually here, kind of, sort of, in spirit.
I am here in spirit. My internet has downgraded to like when it does work, it only half works. And it
Oh,
only half works half the time, and the other half the time it doesn't work.
that's unfortunate. But I'm
Yeah, I really want to watch this video about a Fox News anchor being pro Biden apparently because she doesn't realize that she's live, and I can't watch it because internet.
Oh no, the horribleness. You're unable to watch political. I spent so much of last week on like elections. I think I can't do it anymore today. I think I'm at like tapped out. But I'm glad you're still able to look at it.
I mean, this was just going to be funny and, Fox News.
Yes. So I am, I think I'm, well, okay. So like if you guys were with us at all yesterday, I was exhausted by the end of our like session and I went immediate to sleep at like 7:30. So I'm awake this morning.
Woo.
Yes, but very concerned that my awake time is limited for the next couple of weeks. So I'm going to try today to get as much as I possibly can done on like this editing project that I've been doing. And then hopefully I can return to my drafting at the end of the week, which I hate because I feel like I'm losing nano drafting energy,
But everything needs to get done. It's not like drafting gets you a career as a writer.
Yes, I know. And the book I'm working on, I think, has a wider audience. So it is the higher priority, the editing project, but it's not the fiction project. So anyway, guys, that's what I'm working on today. Chloe, are you drafting this morning? You are, aren't you?
I have, I believe, a scene and a half left. And then there is another scene that I told, and I feel like I need to show because I feel like I'm missing some stuff in this. And then I am completely done with the story.
Wow. So just to make sure nobody missed that. So that's a 50,000 word story, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm at 42.4 right now, so it's going to be nudging 50.
So you're one of these people who doesn't do nano. You sort of do like nano times 2 during November.
Yeah, we have an overachievers group.
An overachievers. Yeah, that's congratulations. I'm very impressed.
But I mean, like, some people in that group get like well in excess of like 300,000. So I would not like, there are people who do a 50K weekend that I wouldn't have hands anymore. Like, I don't know if they're people who just like in their day job type like 80 words a minute. I don't know, but like, I can't, my little body can't handle that.
I tried a 3-day novel project once. The novel is horrible. I will never use it. I was like really proud of myself for finishing it, but
how many words was it?
I think it was like 50,000. I feel like yeah, but I actually don't even remember entirely what it was about. Like it was that kind of like, incoherent typing. So I don't know. I'm like real big into this whole, like at this point, like what do you do to start fixing your characters, by the way. So, okay, so I'm using a book called Troubleshooting Your Novel by Stephen James, who's one of my favorite writing instructors. So I'm going to use that for my prompts this morning, and it is 8:05. So let's start with the thing. So 10 minutes on the clock. Oh, timer worked well this morning. And
Ooh.
we'll start now. Okay, we are
Yes, we are.
back. Yes. My dog stopped barking right then.
Oh,
Maybe she heard the
yeah,
timer.
probably
I think
startled
it's a
her.
possibility. Okay, so let's see. What's our...
Yes, we do.
So we have a 10-minute break now, right?
10-minute break
starts at
and then
8:25.
15.
Okay, good,
10, 15s all the way.
I wrote the schedule at some point, like into the description, which you would think would help me, right? Except that like we can't see the description during the StreamYard thing.
Yeah, no,
so
I just made this easy now. I started with the like 5:10 as the warm up, and then this 10:15 the rest of the way.
Because it is morning and
Exactly.
complications are difficult in the morning.
And like I didn't math that out. So with my initial 9:30 show, that last 15 was literally ending at 9:30. So it's only dumb luck that it ends as cleanly as it does going to 10 o'clock.
So I almost got done with a scene there from this is the memoir that I'm working on again. You would think I wouldn't have that much editing to do, but like every time I go through a scene, I find something wrong. Like there's this lingo needs to be cleaned up. That sentence wasn't clear enough. This is like my third pass. You would think it would be fine. But
I think when you're doing nonfiction, that is going to always be a thing that happens, though.
Yeah. Malcolm used to say to me, this used to really upset me. He would go, like, I would say, what do you think about the scene? I'd be reading him something from my fiction. He'd be like, it's good. And I'd be like, so that's like, what's that supposed to mean? Like, is it actually good? Is it like really good? Is it like, not good? And he would go, writing is a process. This isn't the best thing that you'll ever write. And I would be so mad at him. Like, so mad.
But he's 100% correct.
He's 100% correct. Yeah. Yeah, no. Because, like initially it felt so, I don't know, it was so like ego driven, right? Like so much like, this is my soul on the page and it's not good enough yet.
Yesterday, I was asking Ken, I meant to ask Ken before Nano even started for some correct terminology in this, because like I do watch sci-fi, I do watch stuff that takes place in space, and I do read it, but I never pay attention to the terms. So like right off the bat, it was funny. Did I tell you I was watching Star Trek Generations yesterday?
As research? That's funny.
No, it wasn't even as research. I just with the internet out, of course, that cuts off all form of TV. And also because internet is out, I'm like having, I just want to watch TV right now moments. So I just have this jump drive that has, or like an external hard drive that has a bunch of movies on it, old pirated, Riff Tracks movies. And one of them is Star Trek Generations, the one that was the Picard era, but they bring back Kirk for it. And at one point they mentioned going to the bridge, and I'm like, oh shit, I called it the cockpit. That's not a cockpit. So I was like asking Ken, and bless Ken, because there was definitely that moment where I was like, so it's definitely called a bridge, right? And he's like, oh yeah, totally a bridge. And I was like, why is it called that? He's like, what do you mean? And I was like, I'm sorry, you probably don't know the origin of the term bridge in reference to a spaceship, and I'm sorry. He didn't. He was like, I'm sure it's like an old English thing. But yeah, so I was grilling him. I don't know where. I was grilling him about some of these things. He was able to answer some of them. He's always good for like military rank stuff because he was a Marine. And he had to suffer through that guy's an admiral who's above him. And he's like, well, there's multiple admirals. Like there are ranks to admirals. Like, okay, good. But then there was this point where I almost read him this scene. It's like they're trying to get their ship undocked. And there's a thing going on where they're not allowed to undock. And now, because the ship is under attack, they are allowed to do it because there's two like contradictory protocols happening right now. Like one is overriding the other. And I almost read that to him to be like, does this work at all? And then I was like, he doesn't want to hear this. I'm not going to read it to him. This is smut. It doesn't matter. This reads fine enough for ladies who want to get turned on by fishmen. I don't need to overcomplicate this.
Which is totally something that like sci-fi guys don't understand, right? Like your reader doesn't care if you call it the cockpit or the bridge unless there's something sexy going on there. And like,
but I wanted the terms to be as right as possible, though. That was me. Yeah. I did get like a full definition of the difference between a dock and a bay, and I was really happy about that. Like not water docks and water bays, but like, yeah. So that was good. And then, a question for possibly the masses, because Ken did not have this one, because in none of the sci-fi or like real world scenarios he's ever been in has this been a thing. There is a garden area on my spaceship, and I've been calling it a greenhouse, but I feel like that is absolutely not the term for it. So if anybody has any idea of what this thing would be, if I was giving the most direct comparison to it, it's a grow room, but
maybe you should call it a grow room. Just, clarify what's being grown in there so people don't think we're talking about drugs.
Well, no, if you call it a grow room, it sounds like you're talking about drugs.
It totally does. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want to call it a grow room because it's just where like various medicinal and food plants are.
Maybe it's just like a conservatory. Hey, by the way, so
that's a good term. That was the term that I needed.
Conservatory?
Oh, yeah, that totally works.
Glad we were able to help. So CB got 204 words during that time.
Awesome.
Neri got 250. CB is at 43,000, by the way, which is...
Oh my God, you're beating me.
Yeah. She also suggests, what about vegetation room? Another possibility. And Neri has noted that she's struggling to know how much to carry on developing characters throughout stories. So Neri, are you writing a series then? Because it kind of sounds like you're like if you're saying like throughout the stories, like we're talking about more than one book potentially, or are we doing short stories? Because I feel like developing characters throughout a series is something we could totally talk about.
It is, and I apologize. I actually cannot see the chat when I'm in this window. Oh no, I froze.
You're not frozen with us.
Oh, okay, good. Woo, okay. I wonder, I probably didn't even disconnect the other day either. But yeah, I can't see the chats in this window because I'm on StreamYard on my phone. So, but yeah, well, so you said, you think this is character development throughout a series? Like, should the characters be developed past the first book? Is that what the question is?
Well, that was my question, is are we talking about a series or short stories? And we are at almost 8:25. So let's give Neri a chance to like let us know if she's talking one book or an entire series, and maybe we can.
Yeah, we'll absolutely talk about this. We dealt with my problem just now.
But also, this is like an eternal question, right? So like, how much do you develop characters as you like go through a series? Is like do you leave that like main romance arc behind, or do you don't start answering that? That's a long question.
Put that out there when Neri gives us our answer. It's Neri, you said. Again, I can't see the chat, so I don't even know.
Neri Squires.
Awesome. So let us know also what genre you're writing, because that changes everything, I think.
I agree. Okay, let me put this in the chat in case she has us on mute. That's what I do sometimes with write-ins. And then I think, like, how am I supposed to know if somebody's talking to me directly? I'm on a break.
I get so mad when I'm in like the busier write-ins and my computer freezes when I know they're like getting to my comment. I'm like, I want to know what they said about what I said.
Yeah.
Let's do the sprint now.
Let's do the sprint now. Yes, we'll do the thing. Okay, so 15 minutes starts now.
Ooh.
Okay, we are
Yes.
back. Our next sprint will be at 8:50. In the
What's your problem?
meanwhile, I just had to carry my dog up the stairs and I'm out of breath from that. And I know this is pregnancy
For me,
causing
it's
it.
just fat causing it when I have to carry Chonk upstairs. Also, I end up being like bloody and bruised because he doesn't like being carried, but that's life with a cat.
Oh. So Neri answered our question. So she's doing a first crack at a proper book that's a spin-off from her YouTube channel, which is
Funny.
about fostering and adoption. Um, yeah, okay, I have a particular interest in this kind of thing because I have no experience in adoption. I have tons of experience in infertility. And it drives me bonkers when somebody says something like, oh, it's always been my dream to adopt. So when I have my second child, I think I'm just going to adopt again.
Oh.
Like, like this is just the simplest thing on the planet. I'm just gonna like pick up a kid from, I'm not gonna go through
Right.
anything. I'm not
Just gonna go
gonna
down to Walmart and grab a kid, which I'm sure there are some Walmarts that you couldn't effectively do that, but
but mostly there's not, right? And I wrote a short story once about infertility, and oh my god, like it was for a contest, and some of the judges hated it. I think they hated the realistic parts. They like hated the parts. It was a romance, and they hated the parts where like the couple were fighting
oh yeah,
because
yeah.
it's not like a realistic couple going through adoption or infertility or anything related to kids would never have a conflict. Like they must just be so in love that
Yeah.
all they can think about are rainbows and babies. That's it. So Neri says she has 5 birth children but adopted siblings. So that's the backdrop, right, for her romance story. So the question was like, how much do you develop the characters in a story like that? So Chloe, what are your thoughts on this? And by the way, good morning, Elizabeth. Thanks for joining us.
So are we I mean, I don't know why the answer wouldn't be fully develop the characters, I guess. Like I feel like I'm still missing part of what the question is, and it could just come down to the fact that I'm still missing information here. Because I can't see the chat, I mean, not because she hasn't given enough information.
Okay, and just to clarify, right. So let's make sure that we're getting this right. So I think that Neri's talking about her actual family here, right? With the 5 birth children. So maybe I messed that up. So is the story not about adoption? Maybe it's something else. So maybe we're not quite understanding that right. But I agree with you, Chloe. So you're saying like, why is, like, if this is just a one-shot story, why wouldn't you develop all of the characters? Maybe there are side characters. Is that what we're talking about?
So if it is side characters, like I can address that definitely. If it is side characters who have a major impact on the characters' lives, like a best friend who is always there. I this could be going against what other people say, but I'm just going to put that out there. I think the most important thing is to make sure that they are developed as a foil for the main character. But I don't think they need to go beyond being that foil. Unless they are also going to be getting their own book, and then you want them to be a bit more developed than that, just so that the reader has more invested in reading those books. If
Yeah.
that, I don't know if that helps any.
I agree with that. I mean, I might add that a side character could be like they wouldn't have to be a foil in like the classical sense, that like they wouldn't have to be the exact sort of like opposite, showing different ways to be this person. They could also be like an aide, a best friend, a
I
mentor.
I feel like, I mean, yes, it could be like an aide or a friend or a mentor, definitely, but I do feel like they need to be bringing something to the table that the MC isn't, because
Yeah.
otherwise they don't have um they can't be used as efficiently if they are not something that the MC is not.
Yeah, I agree. Either there's something the MC is not, or they bring out a trait that the MC needs or needs
Yes.
more of, or like somehow they're accessories, they're bling. They're bling to show off the main character. Um,
Yes.
yeah. But so, okay, so Neri says the story is about a baby that gets adopted and a romance around that. So she could also be talking about the main characters and like how much they need to be developed. And in this case, I mean, maybe we're talking about things like backstory, like how much do you do before you even get to, um, before you even get to like the main characters. Oh, and here she says, so there's a lot of characters, but a main character starts off fostering and ends up adopting, and there could be a lot of follow-up books. So like maybe a little of like how much do you do on that main character before she meets her love interest?
So for
And
the main character, it doesn't really matter how like where it's weighted. You don't want to push off the first encounter to develop the character better, but those characters, if you're dealing with romance, the most important element in a romance is absolutely your character development. Romance readers don't care about plot. They want it to be a decent plot, but at the end of the day, um, what's going to keep them reading is what happens between those two characters and where those two characters go and how they get their happily ever after. So for your main characters, there's no such thing as too much development,
except that
and
they need to.
especially with romance, a lot of romance now is written in either first person dual perspective or in deep third dual perspective, because readers want to know that those men are actually men that they want to be with. Yeah.
I feel like you have way more experience with the romance thing than I do, so I'm not going to counter that. But I will say that, like, I think for something like an adoption story or like for my infertility short story, I feel like those kind of lend themselves to more of a chick flick romance crossover because you might want to spend so much time on like just even getting to something like the adoption, which would take you out of the romance realm, right, and more into like a life realm. Um, so I think it's something to think about, right? Is like what genre? Who's your target audience? Who are you? Are you trying to reach a classical romance or a classic romance reader? Because yeah, like those characters got to be fast, and then all about character development. But if you're doing more chick lit, then maybe you focus more on the chick in the beginning. I don't know. That's just something to ponder.
Yeah, if this is more chick lit, then the guy doesn't matter so much.
Right? Which it might not be, right? Like she said it was
Yeah.
romance. So um but I constantly find myself thinking I'm writing romance, and then I'll look at the book and be like, ah, this wasn't romance. This was like chick lit with a this was chick lit with a romance subplot. I totally messed this all up.
Again.
Again. Yeah. I gotta start figuring out what genre I'm writing in because that would really help my marketing. But so hopefully that's, if not helping, at least giving you some things to think about, Neri. Like it's an interesting question. It is 8:50. We've got to do our next thing. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna
let's do this.
oh, I gotta reset the timer. 15 minutes. And we will start writing now.
Ooh.
Okay, we are back. Yes.
They're only
Sprints go by
15.
so
They're baby
fast.
sprints.
Yeah. When I am drafting, I actually get a ton done during these sessions though. Like I'm always surprised at what you can get done in 15 minutes and like how you feel after something like this. Like, wow, I've been legit productive. Like, how did that happen? It's not even 10. I've just got a lot of stuff done. So how are you doing, Chloe? Have you finished
No,
that
no.
scene? Was
Well,
that
there's
book done?
still, so I had like a scene and a half, which I'm still on that half a scene. And then there's still another scene to go back to do. I'll have it all done today. I should be editing Verity by this evening, which I apologize for all of those damn typos. Apparently, the little red things did not pop up as fast as I needed them to.
I've been reading through Verity. There are not a ton of typos, but there are a couple here and there where like Word picks it up and then
Yes,
I
and
just
I
auto
like
fix it
before
when I
I
see it.
sent it to you, I tried to scroll through it to catch all those. I wrote it in a program that does not have a spell check on it, so I scrolled through it when I converted it to Word, and I thought I got it all, and I was not even close.
No, okay, so the editing that I'm doing right now, I wrote my book in Scrivener and then I transferred it directly to InDesign, which has terrible spell check and grammar check. Like I don't even think they have a
Oh,
grammar check. And I
Scrivener
did that.
does though, right?
What?
Scrivener does though, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it's so easy to miss stuff in Scrivener, and the Scrivener thing is not nearly as good as Word,
This is true.
which I have a Grammarly plugin for too, and Grammarly is way better than like any of these programs. So I put it in InDesign because I knew I didn't have time to do like the 6 or so passes I would normally do on a story. And then after I had it all formatted in InDesign, I decided it wasn't good enough. And like I needed to like re-put it back into Word. So then that's a mess because InDesign does not convert to Word. You have to like export just the text, stick it back in Word, like check it there, and then put it back in InDesign, which messes up all your formatting. It's like this whole thing. And so I'm getting a lot of looks at this, right? And man, like even though Scrivener and InDesign and Word and Grammarly all have their own spell checks, and I'm like theoretically using like 4 of them at this point, I then go and I audio record everything, right? So like that's how I do my real proofreading, and I still find freaking typos. Like I corrected dining the other day. I'd written like dining room table, and I spelled it with 2 N's. Did anything pick that up? No.
Dinning. I wonder if dinning is a word though. Like it sounds like something it could be a word.
Yeah, but like, I mean,
Oh, that didn't work. Are
well,
you
let's see if it's a word.
are you testing it? Because I went to and then things didn't go right on my end.
Apparently, dinning is the sound or action of making a loud noise or commotion.
Oh.
But it's
Okay.
I mean, it's the kind of thing where like something should have flagged that. The Grammarly should have flagged that. That should be a very commonly like
Yes.
so no, like when I see if you have typos, and you rarely have typos, like yours, I'm always just thinking, well, at least Chloe's human.
Yes. And again, mine was for a real weird, yeah.
Yeah, that's because it's there are like a few in there, but there are also things like there's a hyphen here, and like it's not a typo, it's just a left out
But
hyphen.
there were also like just some straight up spelling errors that spell check caught, and I did not catch the spell check.
Yeah, and Iani noted when you follow Grammarly blindly because you can't see the red lines, that's a problem. Yeah, man, like Grammarly can be a problem generally, right? Like they have done some weird things. You have to I mean, I ignore at least like half of what they tell me, but they're still a good flag. Like they're like a nice little double check. If I
I like the grammar check on Word because it normally doesn't actually catch anything of use, but it does make me like stop and think and make sure that I was actually doing that properly. A lot of times it's just like it doesn't understand gerund phrases and stuff like that, so it thinks you're using verbs improperly, but I still appreciate it being like, hey, just make sure that this is correct.
yeah. CB notes that her biggest issue with the grammar programs is that they don't get everything, right? Like, and says she would just love for there to be a program that gets everything. I would love for there to be a program that gets everything I want it to get. And nothing I don't. You know? Like, I want it to learn.
We speak English.
Yeah. No, this is, I don't know. And you know what else I'd like? I'd like for a program. I mean, AI is supposed to be like a big thing right now, right? So like, how come there isn't a grammar program that can learn when you've invented a word? Like, I think Chloe uses portaled multiple times. Like he portaled something. And I don't think this is a real word. So it's
not. It's not. That's why I spell it both ways and spell check flags me every single time because neither is correct and I want it to be.
You were actually very consistent in what I read. Like you were consistently using 2 L's. I don't
know if that's consistent throughout the series though, or if I double checked how I spelled it earlier and that's why I did it that way.
Yes, maybe, but yeah, like that would, and this is okay. This is a good call. CV also says like this should be in the correct context, but oh wait, this is a human editor that we're talking about. Fair enough, CV. Yes, you're right. A human editor would be capable of doing, although some human editors aren't, right? And that's the problem with human editors. Is like, honestly, like I've never met an editor who's got like perfect grammar. So I feel like even with a human editor, you can get, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there are people out there that are amazing and they probably also cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. They should, if they're perfect or like really, really good at this stuff, because that's.
I mean, I find a typo in every single traditionally published New York Times bestseller, like, you know, went through the runaround because they're going to be the #1 book for the next 20 weeks. I find a typo in every single one of them.
Yeah, it still happens. Ayani notes that AI is the big thing, or has been for the last 10 years, but we are still waiting for it to be good or useful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I know a lot of like kind of nerdy people who think AI is going to take over the world. Like we're like this close to an AI apocalypse.
I mean, until the Echo can answer the questions that Google or Siri can answer, we're never going to get anywhere close to that.
And Miri, by the way, says, how would you know if an editor is any good? Which is a good point, right? Like, if you're not, like, if you get the editor to help you with your grammar and then they miss something, how do you even know?
Yeah.
I don't have an answer to that.
I mean, I do because I eventually would catch that flippant error, but like developmental stuff, no. If we're talking about proofreading, yeah, it's like, oh, I paid somebody to proofread this, and now I'm proofreading it again and finding things that they miss. But if it is like a developmental editor, no idea.
I wouldn't even get it with like the copy editing. There would be, what's the word for it? Homophones. I would totally write dinning instead of
gotcha.
Constantly.
You know what's funny is that the one that catches me up every time, which is the dumbest one ever, because why would it ever be one and not the other, is discreet. Every single time I write discreet, I have to stop and figure out which discreet it is, which is insane because there is like 0 applications for one form of discreet.
I I'm fairly certain I don't know how to spell discreet. Um,
You
okay,
always want to spell it with a double E. I'm just going to put it that way.
I'm gonna try to remember that. Okay, but we're gonna write now because it is 9:15. So let's do the thing. I'm gonna start the timer now. Okay,
I've got like 2 sentences left in this scene, so I'm going to finish this up real quick.
Sure. I also had 2 sentences left. All right, I am at the end of the chapter I was trying to edit, so that's good. These particular chapters, so this is my infertility memoir, and these are the like grief and loss chapters. So they're like sad chapters, and it takes me longer to edit them. Let us know how you are doing. And to this question about how do you know if like an editor is good, I don't think you do, except here is a tip. You could get recommendations from other writers. So, I mean, it's possible that there are other people who've had really good, success with an editor. Maybe like they've worked with an editor. The editor was efficient and caught lots of errors and, didn't mess with their style. And perhaps then that book did really well. That's one way to know if you're doing okay. Okay, so how are people doing? Elizabeth says she did better with this one and was able to get a page done on her outline. Good
Awesome.
work.
I just got the scene finished.
You got the scene finished. Yay.
Yeah. I don't know how much I've done for today. I've had a bunch of distractions today. Oh, I never updated my word count yesterday. I have no idea what I've gotten done today because I was going to go off of yesterday's word count and it's not there.
But you are, that's it, right? Like that's the end. Is that the end of the half scene?
No, that was the partial scene. I still have a whole other scene to write.
One more, and it'll be done.
Yes.
So that'll happen today. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm supposed to move from this where I'm editing onto like audio recording. And oh my gosh, like every day for the entire month of November, like I start like my audio recording. And this is because I want the memoir to have an audio book. And I'm on like this kind of critical deadline. Like I need this out before the end of November. And I kid you not, every time I go to record, somebody starts to mow their lawn outside. The UPS guy shows up. My husband walks by, like on the phone, talking loudly so I can hear through my office door. Like my neighbors across the street decided this would be a good week for like some heavy backyard construction. Just, this hasn't been happening like all year, but this week we're in construction. Birds. There will be birds. Loud birds, like flocks.
There will be birds.
Yeah, and then I have to. The dog will bark. Like it's a constant. So I have these parts in my audio recording where I'm like going along, and then you'll hear me be like, seriously, and I'm all upset at the audio recording. So we'll see how that goes. But and let's see. So Neri asks, what do I use for recording? I use a blue snowball. I also have a Yeti. They both work really nice. The blue snowball is connected to this computer, and I use it with Audacity, which is free audio recording software. And despite the construction and the dinosaur birds and the husband walking by and the dog barking, I actually managed to get fairly decent recordings. Like that, the noise reduction is pretty good, and the microphones are. I mean, it's not like totally professional, but this is indie audio recording, so it could be much worse.
Yes.
Yeah. Chloe, do you do any audio recording of your own stuff?
I do absolutely no audio recording. I would die trying to read my books, and I also have a slight stutter. I would never be able to read my books, even if I did not have a slight stutter.
You might be surprised. I do think, the thing about audio recording is that like people are really picky about narration voices. So like if your stuff sounds bad, they really do care. And for like most of my fiction, I've done this for some of my romances, but like the fiction under my name, I'll podcast. Like I'll read my stories on a podcast, but I feel like that doesn't have to be as professional. Like for an actual audiobook, I would mostly want a real narrator. But this is a memoir. So I kind of feel like with a memoir, it should be in my voice, like my actual voice, for reals.
I agree. No, my problem is the content of what I write.
I don't think I could read a scene about penetration.
Oh, I think you'd be surprised.
No. No, you should see me. Oh my God. There have been dramatic readings of my novels in my house by like other people who have gotten a hold of a what are they called? The sample prints. Why am I blanking on that term?
I don't know who've gotten hold of drafts.
The proof copies. People will get a hold of the proof copies.
Okay.
Dramatic readings in my house, and every time I'm like, please stop, please stop. No, I know that I wrote that. You don't need to remind me. Please stop.
Okay, so this is funny. When I did the couple romances that I've done, where like I've actually like audio recorded, but like under a pen name, the sex scenes are totally fun. Like you would think they wouldn't be, but because you're audio recording, you need your voice to be relaxed, right? And when you're reading a sex scene, you necessarily have to like kind of relax your voice, right? Because it's just real hard to talk about penetration and like not be giggly if you're doing anything but like making your voice sort of like low and sultry. So they're surprisingly fun. They're I think you might actually enjoy it more than you think. Or maybe that's just me. That could just be me.
I'm a bit more prudish with my voice than I am with my brain.
It's hilarious. By the way, CB got 394 words. Nice work. I think Neri was grabbing coffee. Also important. We approve of coffee. And CB says sex scenes are a pain to write. No, what sex scenes are the fun part? They're the best.
Yeah, I always hear the thing about like if you're good at writing action scenes but not sex scenes, and if you're good at writing sex scenes but not action scenes, you're actually supposed to just write them the same way and they'll both just work. And that does not work for me at all. I can't do that. So for me, action scenes are a pain, and I don't know.
I think your action scenes are okay. Like I think you give yourself a hard time with action scenes. Like your sex scenes are good. So like you're not as, confident in the action scenes. That's the problem.
I think I take advantage of the fact that I know that my readers are romance readers and therefore they don't care about the action scenes.
Perhaps. We are so okay, so some of us, CB says that sex scenes might be a pain to write, but and Ayani says, well, they're fun if they're not too vanilla, to which CB says, but what if you have no experience? Okay, listen, as a vanilla person, I would say if you're gonna write something that's not vanilla, why would you need to have experience? You just need to have imagination.
Also, okay, for two things on this, as a lesbian, I write straight sex scenes and they actually enjoy themselves in that, which is like my worst nightmare. I don't like that thing. Get it away from me. Also, I am currently writing a story about a human being and a fish man, and they are having sex, and what he has is only slightly comparable to what a human man has.
All imagination. CB
imagination.
Right? So CB also says that she loves writing action scenes because she watched wrestling growing up. So arguably, that's the whole action scenes are the same as sex scenes concept. Like you might be surprised the crossover there. And Jay got 200 words for the last one and totally walked in at a very weird conversation. I'm so sorry, Jay.
Always. And that's the wrestling thing is a great reference because if you're talking about, I don't know if CB said WWE/WWF or just wrestling in general, but if it is the professional wrestling, the fact that it's all choreographed, I think actually works to the benefit of authors because it's easier to pick apart and really get it going. So I really like that reference.
Nice. Okay, so we're on to the next sprint. 15 minutes. Let's start now.
Woo.
Okay, we are back.
Ooh.
All right. Jay always walks in on like the weird conversations. I'm sorry, Jay. That was a real weird one to show up during, but it
And I
was
will
writing
say,
related.
we do have a
So,
weird conversation, I believe, every single one of our shows. It's just how long does that weird conversation last for?
we do. That is my. Where is that happening? Where is that noise happening? Oh, sorry. My phone is connected to my Google, which is all over the place. And yes, we totally do have weird conversations all the time. So that's a problem. Oh, wait, that's a really good segue, though. If that is a problem, there are actually all kinds of sprints going on right now. I should see if I can find the Google Calendar and make sure everybody knows where it is. There is a great Google Calendar right now of like all kinds of writing sprints going on.
Only our afternoon show is on it, which I guess is a good thing since our morning show is kind of up in the air right now. But it looks like right now the user who is, or the YouTuber who is running is Angela313.
I313. Let me see if I can't find that to link to it.
Yes, she is actively streaming right now.
Hi, Angela313. Hi, Angela313. Why can't I find you? Oh, wait. She's live right now. Okay, here, I'm going to link to this. So if you are looking for more sprints, it looks like this one is live right this second. So good job, those of you who are getting words in there. It looks like CB got 496. CB gets more words every single time she does sprints in the morning. Did you guys notice that? Like she starts at like 200 and then moves to like 500. She writes fast. Jay got 81 words. This is, look, any words, right? We're good with any words. I am almost at the end of a chapter I was editing, and I can't believe I lost my nano momentum, but priorities.
I think I got 385 in that sprint. I'm pretty sure I was starting the scene fresh, so I got a good one out of that.
Nice. And let's see. So when are we back again? We are back.
So I am going to be crossing my fingers that we are finally going to be getting internet hooked up today. I feel like today is the day because, again, otherwise I'm not going to have internet at all and I am going to lose my ever-loving mind on Comcast customer service. And then Ken is going to also call for the same account and do the exact same thing. So I feel like internet's happening soon. So hopefully I will be able to do Thursday's show, but I'm not putting it on the calendar until I have internet.
Yeah, and I am out on Thursday. I believe I have a doctor's appointment that day, but anyway, let me make sure about that. Yeah, I will be out. But Friday, at 8 a.m., I can do this again. So if you're up for it, we should definitely be back on Friday and possibly back on Thursday. And I did find the link to the calendar. I just posted it in there.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, okay. Fatima got 338 words. And thanks for joining us. I don't think we knew you were here. Thanks to everybody who joined us today. I feel like I got enough sleep last night. I'm like a little hyper this morning. It's real weird.
I just had a whole bunch of coffee.
I didn't. I just had like a normal breakfast, with like toast, some eggs. So things have gone very strangely today. Okay, so that's it, right? Chloe, anything else that we should say before we let everybody get to the next sprint?
No. Subscribe to us if you are actively trying to seek our things, but because we've got this inconsistent schedule, we can't promise you anything.
Well, we can promise Mondays. We're really consistent.
We can always promise Mondays, but y'all are here at 10 a.m. Eastern right now. So I'm assuming you want to know more about these shows. And these shows, we're not consistent until my life is consistent again.
Except we have actually done Tuesday, Thursdays, and Fridays, I think, fairly consistently for like 2 months now.
We have until now.
So basically, don't rely on us, but we're probably going to be here on Friday.
Yes, but subscribe to us.
Yes. So thanks for joining us, guys, and we will hopefully see you later in the week.
Yes, bye, everybody.
Bye.